poor people work for money, rich people make money work for them. He raised his hand when he was a kid in school and said, when are you going to teach us about money? And they said, no, 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 Robert, we don't teach about money in school. And he said, why? You're teaching me Spanish, chemistry, and history. Why don't you teach me about money? But it's something they don't do because of the system. And the beautiful thing about Bitcoin and crypto is maybe for the first time ever, it almost shows us that right in front of our faces. Here's an alternative, system, almost like those parallel universes in Star Trek, where there was like the ship over here and the ship over here. And you're like, oh, this is a monetary system that could work in the long run. And it shows us maybe this one isn't. But Carl, we still have a lot of education to do. I think most people in a G7 country still think, get my money, stick it in the bank, it's going to keep me safe. So I think we got a lot of educating to do. Let me jump to Bitcoin prices, the market, because this is something you talk about on a regular basis on your YouTube channel, which is amazing. People need to subscribe. You do daily videos. You also do technical analysis, which is fantastic as well. I did my 10-year anniversary of London Real last October. I had Alex Fizel of Swissborg in the studio interviewing me, and Bitcoin hit an all-time high that day. I think it was 68,000 on the day we did our 10-year anniversary. Was that coincidence? I think not, Carl. But since then, we've seen it correct. And I'm wondering, what do you tell people when they ask you, what's the future of Bitcoin? Does it matter? What should I do? What's your current take on the market?
Okay, so first of all, I've done enough research on Bitcoin to the point where I can confidently tell you that I feel like I understand Bitcoin. I understand why I put all my money in Bitcoin. With that said, I don't worry about the price action on a daily basis or even the monthly basis. If Bitcoin goes down 50% or up 100%, I really couldn't care less, because my time horizon is the next 10 years, even 20 years down the line, because the monetary cycles move in these big ways, and the fiat system is collapsing right now as we speak. It's collapsing slowly enough that people don't realize it yet, but it is definitely failing. It's breaking slowly but surely. And Bitcoin for me is a bet on that. So if I'm right, then Bitcoin is of course going to go up in value due to this. And we also have to think about two different things here, value and price, because with inflation, the price of Bitcoin could go up while the value stays the same or even goes down, because inflation kind of destroys the whole point of measuring value with the fiat currency. It's like kind of trying to imagine if my watch was kind of, floating around and going backwards and sideways and up and down, I wouldn't be able to tell the time, right? Same with inflation. Inflation makes it very hard to measure value with fiat. It's like, if you're in school with a ruler trying to make a straight line, if it's going like this all the time, how are we going to make a straight line? It doesn't work. So just like that would be a bad way to measure distance, fiat is a very bad way to measure value. I think Bitcoin is going to be a much better way to do that, because we have the finite supply. We don't have that insane inflation. So that said, I think Bitcoin is going to completely skyrocket in value when people realize the value of actually holding Bitcoin, or the reason why you should hold Bitcoin, and why the system needs an alternative. And I've said it before, I think Bitcoin very, very easily will go to $6 million per coin, calculated in today's money. But if that takes place, then that means that the dollar has to collapse, because otherwise, basically Bitcoin will take over the value of all money in the world, and that would be approximately $6 million. But if that happens, then the actual price of Bitcoin will likely be something like maybe, I don't know, hundreds of millions, or maybe even trillions or quadrillions of dollars per Bitcoin because of inflation. But at that point, it makes no sense to even measure Bitcoin in dollars, because it's going to be completely worthless. The dollar will be, hyperinflated. But yeah, so I think Bitcoin will go to $6 million per coin, calculated in today's money. But I think it can go even higher than that, because that's based on just Bitcoin taking over the dollar and all the other fiat currencies around the world. But I think that there's a lot of economic energy out there, monetary energy held up in the stock market, in the real estate market, in even art collections, in even old vintage cars, from people who are using these assets as a store of value simply because of the lack of an alternative. So these people that hold these assets, they are smart, they're rich, they made money, they understand inflation, so they don't put their money in a bank account, because that's like watching an ice cube melt in the middle of the desert. It's stupid, and these people understand. So they put their money in these different assets. However, these assets are not very liquid. If you hold $20 million worth in an apartment, I mean, if you want to buy something else, now you have to liquidate your apartment. It will take a couple of months maybe to find a buyer. Same goes with cars, even worse with art sometimes. You get the point. With Bitcoin, it's very liquid. It's quite fungible. I would say almost completely fungible. So you can sell it on the market like that. There's always a buyer for Bitcoin. So imagine when these people that have these assets, we're talking about maybe a couple of $100 trillion worth of value out there. When these people realize that instead of holding real estate and expensive cars and art, they can have the same amount of value hold up in Bitcoin, but stay completely liquid on a 1 minute's notice. They can liquidate their Bitcoin, get dollars or real estate or whatever it is they want. I mean, like I said in the beginning of this interview, I bought the watch, I bought my cars with Bitcoin. I mean, it's a life hack. It's a life hack. Imagine if I had all of my wealth in real estate. I can't just go to the watch store and tell them, hey, take my living room and I buy the watch. Doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big point.
Are you surprised that the world hasn't woken up to Bitcoin sooner? You know, when we hear about institutions looking at it and more people are talking about it, but are you surprised it's lagged? And did you think maybe it would really kick off more in 2022? Or does it not surprise you?
I am actually not surprised at all, because first of all, there's a lack of education. People don't know about this. I would even go as far as saying there is a huge corruption going on out there. There are forces out there that are fully incentivized to keep people from using Bitcoin. Just look at the banking system. I mean, I've had bank accounts frozen and closed because of me using crypto. And, you know, just look at the school system. They don't teach you anything about the monetary system. They don't teach you about the dollar, Federal Reserve, how the banking system is completely corrupt and robbing you every single day of your money. They don't tell you that. Why? The politicians, I mean, are they doing anything? No. I feel like the world, you know, it's just very corrupt, and I don't trust the elites or the higher ups to have the best interest for me or for my friends or for anyone out there. So I'm not surprised that Bitcoin has not taken off yet. I'm not surprised that people don't understand what's happening in the world, because the information is being kept from them, I believe. So people are not stupid. They are just they're getting held out on this information. They're getting kept from the truth, which is very sad. But that's also why I am trying as much as I can to talk about these things. I'm speaking about this every single day on my The Moon channel and on my other channel called Runefelt. I'm trying to just inspire people to go out there and make a great life for themselves with the law of attraction and crypto, and that's a nice combination anyways. But yeah, so I'm not surprised, but I'm doing everything I can to speed up the process, that's for sure.